For the Baidi aerospace fighter, which has frequently appeared at the Zhuhai Air Show in recent years and has been nicknamed China's sixth-generation fighter in future aircraft, some American media finally realized that it was just a large model. Speaking of the most popular aircraft at this year's Zhuhai Air Show, in addition to the three fifth-generation aircraft from China and Russia, it may be the bizarre-shaped Baidi aerospace fighter. This fighter was once unveiled at the Zhuhai Air Show in 2022, and a plan called the Nantianmen Project was launched with it. But the model at that time was far less sophisticated than it is today. This year's Zhuhai Air Show also showed the interior view of the Baidi cockpit, including an integrated display and a real-view enhancement system, which looks very sci-fi. In addition, the Air Show display board introduced a series of research and development of the Baidi fighter, such as the latest design and the expansion of the internal weapon compartment to carry heavy air-to-ground weapons. The description of the Baidi fighter's ability to fly at supersonic speeds and break through the atmosphere has made some domestic and foreign media who are not aware of it really believe in the existence of the Nantianmen project and believe that Baidi is the prototype of China's sixth-generation fighter. But in fact, the so-called Baidi War Chronicles and Nantianmen project are just the fighter plane that appeared in the exhibition area of military-themed cultural and creative products launched by AVIC, which is actually a large simulation model. After Baidi War Chronicles was repeatedly hyped for a few days, some American media also found something wrong. On the 14th, the U.S. National Interest magazine published an article saying that the Baidi fighter model displayed by China at the Zhuhai Air Show is likely to be a strategic trick aimed at defeating the United States and the West without direct confrontation with them. In short, the U.S. media believes that China's Baidi War Chronicles and Nantianmen project are like the Star Wars plan that the United States used to fool the Soviet Union. China did not actually build a Baidi prototype, but just to make the United States and the West believe that China will deploy the sixth-generation fighter before them, thereby stimulating the U.S. Air Force to double its investment in the next generation of air superiority projects when the country is facing a huge debt crisis, and ultimately achieve the goal of dragging down the U.S. finances. The U.S. media said that the sixth-generation fighter is very complex and requires a lot of time and money to demonstrate. At present, China is ahead of the West in manufacturing. This means that China is more willing than the West to spend a lot of money on projects with a lower probability of success. Therefore, the U.S. National Interest magazine issued a loud call that the Pentagon must not be fooled by China, Chinese said. The U.S. Air Force should focus on existing technologies, such as increasing the production capacity of Lightning fighters or developing new drones. Listening to China's deception and doubling down on the next-generation air superiority project will only lead to an unprovoked disaster. The U.S. media's concerns are not groundless. Since June this year, the U.S. Air Force's sixth-generation aircraft project has been exposed to serious overspending, and the cost of a single aircraft will be 3 times that of the Lightning fighter, which is about $300 million per aircraft. Such an expensive price has put the U.S. military's sixth-generation aircraft project under review. By early September, James Steve, Deputy Chief of Staff of the U.S. Air Force, admitted that he did not know how to achieve air superiority in a contested environment, so they were going back to the starting point and thinking from scratch. The suspension of the U.S. Air Force's sixth-generation aircraft project under the record is an important reason for the U.S. media's anxiety about the white die fighter. On the one hand, as the National Interest magazine said, this model is the Chinese version of the Star Wars plan, which is stimulating the United States to continue to invest huge amounts of money in the current hopeless sixth-generation aircraft project. On the other hand, the aerodynamic layout package displayed by the Baidi model, or the introduction of the fighter on the airshow display board, made the American media have to wonder whether these concepts will be integrated into China's sixth-generation fighter.
After watching this video, don't forget to give it thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell icon to get notified whenever we post new content. Your support means a lot and helps our team create more videos like this. Thanks for watching.